Today, I wanted to take the moment. I know that the opportunity to talk about impact goals, to bring us back to impact goals, to review 2025 briefly, and then based on those two, have a good plan, a good goal for 2026, and what actions can I take immediately, right? That would move the needle, right? And learning how to differentiate both. Because knowing how to differentiate both, right, and then having a clear objective, a good, audacious, realistic, measurable, profitable goal that you could track rigorously, it's the difference between getting towards a goal or not. A good thing that we could do and this is probably very relevant to you, Jennifer, to anybody who's in this growth period, transition period, is look back to our impact goal. And I'm sure we all did the impact goal as we were building our silvers, but we probably forgot it, right? When we have our 1 year revenue goal, it says, I will sell this amount of money, make this amount of profit, and I'm out, and then our primary driver comes in, right? And we had several primary drivers. Some of them had to do with income with our family, generating jobs. The impact goal is the impact we want to have. So why is it important, this impact goal, and why is it related to the first question about how we feel about 2025 and 2025 being a transition type period and that everybody's changing everything? Because one of the main things in our methodology, one of the main concepts, or let's call one fundamental, is that you probably all remember or have heard it at some point, is that you are not your business, right? You are someone who started a business. And the reason you started that business is because you want that business to be able to provide for your lifestyle, right? For the way you want to live and create the impact that you want. So in times of uncertainty, when we feel destroyed, combobulated, encouraged because there is change in the world, it is always good to recenter ourselves there, right? So my question to you would be, and I would want us to put 2 to 3 minutes in the clock, is write down your impact goal. So question number one is, so this is going to be like a 3-part question. Number one, is it still true? That should be a yes or no, right? And if it's not true anymore, if your primary driver has changed, that's completely normal, but we need to identify it. What is it now? Maybe previously I was more passionate about the environment, that gender equality issues maybe, and now I am more, and we need to, our plan, our motivation needs to reflect that, right? So my impact goal, is it still true? The second question is, have I done it, right? If you have already had a cycle of 1 year where you hit your goal or not, have I done it? Maybe it's something that we wrote that it was nice to have, but we never did it, right? So have I done it? So, did I achieve it? That's another way to put it. And once you have it, you probably would see that maybe you did it unconsciously, right? So I see that Kira, her impact goal is to create jobs. Maybe just by the simple fact of growing their business, she had to hire more people and she created jobs. But it's not like she had it on top of mind, but she did it as a byproduct consequence of growing the business. So is my impact goal, let's write it down. Question number one, is it still true? Did I achieve it in the last cycle? And then why or why not? Which means what happened that made me not achieve it, right? The objective of these 3 questions is to recenter us as to why we do what we do, right? Because it's the best way to recenter yourself in times of uncertainty, to remember why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? So write down the impact goal. Is it still true to me? Have I achieved it, and why? Now, I want us to notice something, right? So what I did right now was tricked us into doing a little bit of a pause and reflect about our goals and why or why not we didn't hit them, but in the context of the impact goal, right? Because if the answer to your questions were, this is my impact goal, yes, it is still true, I achieved it, yes, I achieved it, and then you list why you achieved it, you will notice that those are the reasons why you probably hit your profit goal or your revenue goal, because the only way that you could do your impact goal is by hitting your revenue goal. In the same way, if you said, yes, it's still true, I did not achieve it, and then like Jennifer said, well, there was an issue outside of my control, That issue, as you could see, she's affecting her revenue, and her creating revenue profit is what allowed her to achieve that impact goal. So it was a very sneaky way of my part to do a little bit of pause and reflect about the revenue goal of 2025, but also help us to center as to why we do what we do as well, right? So now that we know we did the why things worked or didn't work, I want us to then try to project to 2026, right? So for example, in your case, Jennifer, that the fact that the postal service went on strike and that affected your business in the way it did, it's actually an indicator that you might need a shift there, for example, because if that happens again and is out of your control, then your whole plan, year plan would probably be affected. So we should probably think, I need to put a strategy into place, right? We got to that conclusion by thinking about the impact we want to have, but still valid for the overall business strategy. So what I will want us to do right now is do a little bit of a reflection on that context, following that train of thought, right? We just realized we went through, yes, the primary driver that I had is still true, right? I still want to be successful so I could provide jobs, do this, do that, etc. Still true. I achieved it or not, yes or no. These are the reasons. Now, I want us to think about 2026. What out of those things that we identify, which we need to change, which we need to do more of? So that will be the first thing. And then once we do that, I also want us to think about short-term and long-term. Okay, so we're going to continue the pause and reflect, and we're going to do a little bit of a reflection, right? Write as many as you can think of that are related to the previous answers we have as to what did not work that I could change or need to change for 2026. What did work that I could double down on for 2026, right? And then I want us to, because we are at the beginning of the year, right? And these things that we are going to start to break down, we need to put them in a time frame. For example, if, and I'm sorry I'm picking on you, Jennifer, but your example is such a good example for what I'm trying to say, right? So if you know that the postal service going on a strike might affect you, how much of a priority that should be for your 2026, right? So is it a long-term thing to have a strategy, or is it a short-term thing? Maybe it's I need to do it right now, or if I have it by April, I'm good. If it's something like, for example, Denisha was sharing, I want to hire more people, I want to expand. Is that something that I need to look to do second half of the year? You'll have to start thinking about it this half of the year. So try to put whatever learnings you're having, the things that you need to change or things that you need to double down in a prioritization order, right? So these are the things that didn't work that I need to change. These are the things that I could double down. And from top priority to least priority, this is how I would order them. Does that make sense? Now, again, we already identified some of the things that worked and did it with the previous pause and reflect. Now I want us to expand on them. What didn't work that needs to change, what worked that I could double down, and then we're going to order them based on priority, right? From most priority that would tell me, okay, I need to address this, I need to find an action plan to execute this in the short term, then medium and long term. Given the 2025, and I think that we all can agree that has been a strange year, let's say, to say the least, right? A lot of people have been changing, whether it's their business model, whether it's the tools they're using, whether it's their motivation, their impact goal. Everybody went through that, which is to say the world is changing. And adapting to how the world changed, it's key to continue growing the business. Adapting does not necessarily mean changing what you sell as much as changing how you sell it. Okay, that doesn't mean that I need to change my business. Maybe just adapt to how you're selling it. Changing times could leave us wondering, why am I even doing this, right? Maybe I should sell my business. Why am I even doing this? This is too hard. So whenever you're faced with that question, with that feeling, it is always best, or it is always recommended to go and look as to why you're doing it. That's related to your primary drivers. And lucky for us, in our methodology, the primary drivers affect the impact goal. So going back and looking at your impact goal and asking yourself, is this still true? Am I achieving it? What's working, what's not, is a good way to recenter ourselves, refresh. Okay, yeah, now I remember why I'm doing this, right? In the worst case scenario. Or, oh, look at that. I wanted to create 2 jobs and I grew so much that I created 10 jobs, right? It's a good way to refresh. And by analyzing the impact goal results, whether achieved or not, it's a way to indirectly reflect on your revenue goal. Because it's impossible for you to do, unless you're a charity, achieve your impact goal without achieving your financial goal. So that's going to give you a list of things that did not work. And this could be endogenous, meaning coming from you. I need to pay more attention. I need to stop procrastinating. Or it could be exogenous. It could be a protest. It could be the world pandemic, something that we cannot control. And then we need to see what things did work. What maybe, like Diane, I didn't hit my goal, but it did grow. That means something that I did worked. Identify that to double down. And once you identify those things, right, you need to know which are short-term, which are mid-term and long-term, right? Because we cannot do everything all at once. We need to be able to identify this. I need to change right now, today, in order to get results. This I need to start planning because it's going to be in my pipeline or it's going to be in my workflow in 3 months. And this is in 6 months. Once we have that, then we could start break it down, right? Let's take the example of Frederick again. Frederick needs to shift from digital to in-person. Okay, maybe that cannot happen right now in January, but I could have a plan so that January, maybe by April or May, I could start launching in-person events. Okay, for that to happen, hold on 1 second, someone's calling me. All right. For that to happen, that means I need to, hold on. Give me 1 second, someone. This is, oh, yeah. For that to happen, right, if I want to shift from Zoom to in-person, just by having that goal in 3-4 months, then I could break it down into actions. That means this needs to happen. I need to look for places. I need to look for partners. I need to probably look for a designer that makes, look for the best communication channels to talk to my audience, look for a good place in a good neighborhood, etc. So that from there, we could break it down into as many action items as specific as we can that we could then implement right away or put them in the pipeline. The good news for all of us is that in Silver, in the action panel, you could actually do this, right? You could create your own custom campaigns and you could start to break them down, and you don't need to do it by yourself. So if right now, at the beginning of the strategy session, you have things that you have identified that you need to put in your action plan, I highly encourage you to let us know, talk to your Silver expert and sit down and tell them, I want to put these things in my action plan, and they will help you to program them. And even you could tell them, help me, like give me feedback. How else can I break them down to have specific goals? Like I need to send 60 emails per week. So that you have something that you could actually track and that you could implement consistently that you know will get you those results. So that's the story I wanted to tell you all today.